What's up everyone? Today we're going to see some creepy / scary videos. I found this channel called Llama Arts. Be sure to subscribe to him. He makes some great animations. So we're just going to take a look at some animations. And the first one is called A Creepy Ghost Hunting Story Animated. Please don't go ghost hunting. Alright.
This happened about 5 years ago when I was 21. Me and my friend Seth got into this app which showed you ghosts. We'd go out ghost hunting, but nothing much would happen. Sometimes a dot would appear on one of our phones and it would say random words. We would ask, "How did you die?" and stuff like that. And sometimes the answers lined up, but it was mostly random. One night, around 2 a.m., Seth suggested going to the cemetery to see if the app picked anything up. I was hesitant, but I nervously agreed. We started making our way through the neighborhood towards the cemetery. It was weird as the streets are normally lined with cars, but they were empty on this night.
Okay.
We walked down the middle of the road with the app running, but it wasn't picking anything up. We finally made it to the cemetery, which was a small, family-owned one where they only buried their own.
Oh no,
Seth
no.
went up to the gate and started shouting, hoping to get a response on the app, but nothing happened.
You're so stupid.
I was standing in the road, feeling unsettled, when Seth starts yelling,
"Is that all you've got?"
I told him to stop disrespecting the dead and we should leave. He tried being
you're
funny,
right.
saying,
"Oh, I'll make them show up."
he jumped
Seth!
the gate and started.
Like, yeah, well, so some of our friends, if they go do this thing, they're gonna do like, "Hey, if you come out. Hey, you, we want to talk to you, come out. Please, if someone's over here, please don't come out."
Stomping on the graves while screaming.
Come on, show us something.
No.
All of a sudden, our phones said something at the same time. I looked down at my phone and it was there. We both just stood there, looking at each other when 10 or so red dots appeared on the radar.
Oh no.
And it said it again. When I looked back up from my phone, Seth was next to me. I said,
"We have got to go."
as soon as I said that, we could hear the street lights turning off one by one from
Oh
the
no.
top of the
Oh
street.
no.
getting closer to
Run,
us.
run!
We took off running as fast as we could. We got about halfway into the neighborhood before running out of breath and having to stop.
No.
I felt like I was gonna throw up from being scared and winded. Then I heard my phone say something. It was muffled, but I knew what it said. Being too scared to look at my phone, I looked at Seth, who looked terrified. He nodded at me to get my phone out, so I slowly pulled it out, and it said my name across the top. I turned my phone off and said,
"Screw this. I'm done."
We made our way back to my house and had a cigarette to calm down. We were talking about what just happened, almost not believing it, when I heard my phone again.
No,
This time
just
it
delete
was
the
my
app.
sister's name. We just stood there, frozen, not saying a word. And it went off again and said my brother's name.
No.
I took my phone out, turned it on, and deleted the app. I asked Seth to stay the night, but he refused. I can't blame him. When I finally got to sleep that night, I dreamt a muffled voice repeating a word over and over. I started to wake up and the words became clearer. My phone was off, with the battery out. But when I turned it over, it was lit up with the app running. It had a red dot about 6 feet from me, still repeating.
No. Just run away. Oh! I'm scared.
I woke up the next morning and went to the bathroom. I had a razor-thin cut from my left shoulder to my right hip.
Oh no.
I don't know what happened that night, and nothing has happened to me since. Needless to say, I don't mess with that kind of stuff anymore.
A Disturbing True Snapchat Story 2 Animated.
This is a short but terrifying story of something that happened when I was Snapchatting a friend. I'm pretty young, I'm only 13, still in middle school. A girl I really liked had just recently started snapping me selfie pictures, and we started messaging each other for a few nights. One night when I was watching TV, she sent me a snap of herself laying in her bed without a caption. I sent a message saying what's up.
Okay.
She sent another identical picture, this time with a caption saying not much, you? She set the timer to 10 seconds, so it gave me plenty of time to analyze the picture, including her bedroom in the background, and the dark outline of a person standing by her window.
Ah!
I quickly sent a response message, saying, "Is that your brother by the window?" She sent another identical snap, this time captioned, "What do you mean?" In this picture, the figure at the window was closer, and I could see a hand pressed up against the glass. I closed the snap before the timer even ran out so I could tell her quicker. I said, "There's somebody at your window, turn around." She opened my snap almost immediately, and then I didn't hear from her again on the app. I grew more and more worried as the minutes passed. I texted her a few times to no avail. I tried calling her a few times to no avail as well.
No.
I didn't know her house phone number, otherwise I would have called her parents. It wasn't until midnight when I was already laying in bed that she finally texted me back. She explained the whole situation. As soon as she looked at her window and saw the person standing there, she screamed. And that caused the person, who turned out to be a 20-something-year-old man, to open the window and jump into the room. From there, she ran to her parents' room and woke her dad, who went to her room to find nothing but an open window.
He ran away.
It wasn't exactly a personal story of mine, but it freaks me out nonetheless, knowing that the only thing that saved my friend from whatever could have happened was the fact that I was able to see the window through her selfies, unbeknownst to the creeper at her window.
Holy The bathroom store airport stories animated.
So this happened a few months ago. I'm 26. I was at JFK Airport in New York with 5 friends. All of us were about to fly down to Florida to spend the week in a beach house. We had a few more minutes to kill in the airport before we would board our flight, and I really had to go to the bathroom all of a sudden. I was baffled to see a line out the door for the bathroom. I noticed a janitor walking by, so I asked her if there was another bathroom nearby that wouldn't be so crowded. She laughed and told me she shouldn't really be telling people, but there was another bathroom past the door she was pointing at, down a narrow flight of stairs and to the left. I thanked her because she was extremely nice, and followed the direction she gave me. Sure enough, behind that door that no one would think to open, was a small stairway that led down to a really poorly lit, skinny hallway.
No, just don't.
It was so narrow that if 2 people were to pass by each other, one person would have to stand against the wall to make room.
If I would be that person, I would not go in there.
The door was extremely heavy and hard to push. Also, the lights were on inside of the bathroom, and it was filthy in there. It was evident that nobody ever really came in there to clean. Now, this is a little embarrassing to mention, but when I go to the bathroom in public places, I always try to make sure nobody else is around to possibly hear me going. So after checking the stall to see that it was unoccupied, I went back into the hallway for a second to take a look down both directions.
You're so
stupid. To the left, there was somebody standing at the end of the hall. In a dark, unlit section of the hallway. It was a disturbing sight, to say the least. All I could do was awkwardly pull my head back into the bathroom and try to pretend we didn't see each other. I went into the stall and just stood there biting my fingers for a minute, dreading the thought of that door opening. And of course, it did. I saw the man's black shoes under the stall door as he walked to the stall next to mine. He shut the door, and then there was silence. No sound of the man unzipping his fly or sitting down, nothing. I realized I didn't really have to go anymore, and went to unlock the stall door. That's when I looked up, and saw the man's head peering over the stall, looking at me. I nearly had a heart attack as my screams bounced off the walls of the tiny bathroom. I ran back up those damn steps and out that door, and then casually walked back over to my friends. I was breathing heavily, but nobody seemed to notice. I didn't tell anyone just because it was embarrassing and I didn't want my friends to make fun of me in any way.
You say so.
I know, I guess that seems stupid now.
Yeah.
We went on to have our Florida vacation and all had a good time. Of course, the thought of that creepy man haunted me every night that week.
Oh. I don't want to do this video anymore. Scary true pool horror story animated.
It was approaching the end of summer, and my friends and I wanted to do some cool, mischievous things before going back to school. So, we had the genius idea one night to sneak into a nearby community pool. It was actually only a couple blocks away.
Okay.
It's right smack in the middle of a residential area, so instead of sitting on a main road or something, it actually just sat around a bunch of houses on a quiet road.
Cool.
During a hot day, the little parking lot would be full and the spot would be bustling. But at 1 in the morning, the place was of course dead. There's obviously a big fence surrounding the whole front entrance, as well as a cage that gets closed up when the place closes, so our best way was to get in through the side. We snuck into the backyard of a neighboring house and hopped the fence over to the pool. It was as easy as that. The 4 of us took off our shirts and jumped into the pool, which in retrospect wasn't smart, since any of the neighbors could have heard the splashes and just called the police. But we were dumb high schoolers. It was very, very dark within that whole enclosing. This pool had no lights, which is why it closed at sunset. James, Courtney, and Alyssa were on the other side of the pool, as I was just kind of doing my own thing at first, swimming around and getting my face wet.
Cool.
I saw Alyssa get out of the pool shortly after and run away.
Why?
I swam over to see what was going on. She was just going to the water fountain, though.
Okay, yeah.
The 3 of us just bopped around in the water for a bit, and eventually we heard Alyssa jump back into the pool from the other side. It was too dark to see much more than her black hair covering her face.
No, that looks so creepy.
Play
That looks so creepy, man. No, that's not Elisa, Alexa, I don't even know. Oh!
call something to us as she was walking back to the pool.
What?
The 3 of us in the pool looked at each other.
What?
I know they were doing the same thing as me, counting heads. There were 3 of us on this side of the pool, and here came Alyssa walking over to our side. So who was that on the other side?
No!
Alyssa got in, but the 3 of us were distracted, looking at the head bopping around the water across the pool.
Oh no.
James said across the pool, "Who is that?" Not even 2 seconds later, the head went underwater and disappeared from view. We took this time to whisper to each other, mostly things like, what should we do? What if that's security? And should we run? Suddenly I felt something grab my leg with force and tried pulling me down into the water.
Oh no.
I kicked, splashed, and yelled for help. James came
yeah,
over to pull
obviously
me
you
out of
should
the pool, while the girls were already running for it, screaming.
What does that little bastard and snakes, okay? You girls, you should help that man, okay? You're a snake.
It wasn't until I got to the stairs of the pool that the grip on my leg was released and I was free.
Okay.
We hopped the same fence we climbed over to get in and ran all the way back to
shirtless.
House. I was convinced that whoever that was a security guard. That is, until they literally tried to pull me under the water. We don't know what to think. There are a few possibilities. Maybe it was just another kid messing with us, maybe it was a security guard who went way too far, or most likely, it was a dangerous person who had ill intent.
Oh shit! Okay, which one next? House-sitting stories animated.
A couple weeks ago, my dad came home and pitched me a small job offer. One of his coworkers was going away for a few days and needed somebody he could trust to watch over his house. The reason my dad pitched this to me was because the man's house has a big CCTV system, Basically a camera in every room, and then an operating desk where all screens could be watched on a big monitor. And I'm a computer science major, so my dad just always assumes that I know how to work anything technological. The man told my dad that he'd pay me $200 for the 2 days just to watch the house.
I would do that.
Whatever that meant. My dad drove me to the house and introduced me to the man, whose name doesn't matter. The man made it seem like he preferred I stay in the upstairs room with the monitors as opposed to roaming the house all day. That was fine with me though. So when I wasn't eating, I was mostly just sitting in that room with the TV on in the background, and doing schoolwork on my laptop. Ironically, the thing I was doing the least was keeping an eye on the monitors. Night came. I started wondering where in the house I should sleep, since surprisingly, we hadn't discussed that. So I sat back down at the desk and looked at all the different rooms on the screens to see which rooms had beds or couches. I noticed something I wasn't expecting to notice.
No, just
though.
don't.
The back screen door was open downstairs.
Oh my god.
I didn't remember it being open. I looked through each and every camera screen in a panic. In the living room, a closet door was open.
No.
This one I knew wasn't open earlier.
No.
I texted my dad to call the man and ask him if he came back home. Meanwhile, I continued watching the screen. On the grainy, dark image, a tall person who resembled only a black shadow on the screen stepped out from the closet.
No!
I pulled my arms
My
off
heart's
the desk
racing.
and I covered my mouth with my hands in shock. As I did this, however, my left elbow pulled some heavy object from the desk onto the floor, creating a big thud.
No! You're so
The person in
stupid!
the image very clearly moved their head up to the ceiling as a response to the noise. They went for the stairs, walking up very, very slowly, step by step. Meanwhile, I got a text back from my dad saying, "No, he's not. I just spoke to him half an hour ago. Why?"
No, just call 911! 911!
Texting my dad to send help that I didn't even pay attention to the monitor. There was a knock at the door. I looked at it and then the screens. The first screen I laid my eyes on was the one showing the person outside the door to the room I was in. When I remembered that door had no lock, the only thing I could think to do was jump out the window into the bushes below.
Okay, yeah, do that.
I ran halfway down the block and then stopped when my dad called me.
Good.
I had him call his friend and ask him if he was expecting somebody in the house.
Good.
The man said he had no relatives or friends who had his key or would ever let themselves into his home. So he called the cops and had them review the footage. I got to watch all of it, and it showed everything.
Okay.
From the moment the intruder broke the glass to the backyard door, to the moment I jumped out the window and him running away shortly after. The intruder was never found. The footage was just too dark to identify his face.
Oh no! Oh! You know what? I sleep here alone at the back, okay? With me looking at these videos, I don't think I can sleep tonight. Scary true horror stories animated.
I'm 27 years old. I live alone in a rural town in Virginia, about 2 blocks away from my parents. My parents are both in their 60s, and my mom has become a very worrisome woman in her old age. Sometimes she walks over uninvited and lets herself in, since I had regrettably given her a key, which can get a bit annoying. Like if I would be out really late on weekends at a bar or with women, I would sometimes come home to my mom sitting in the living room waiting, worried sick.
Cool.
I know you may just think, oh my god, that's crazy, why not just put your foot down and tell her to stop?
Yeah.
Well, because you don't know my mom. It's very hard to describe her, but she's the kind of worrisome, innocent little lady that you just can't bring yourself to go against. And I hate to mention, she also has mild dementia. Anyway, this was Saturday night. I think it was around 2 in the morning. I was at a nearby club with a group of college friends, really the only place to hang out in this boring town, and I was getting ready to head home. I said goodbye to all my friends and walked the 3 blocks it took to get back to my house. I walked up my front stoop in my drunken haze and dug my hand in my pocket for my keys. When I grabbed the doorknob, I realized it was unlocked. My mom was here again. I quietly opened and shut the front door, locking it behind me. I put my keys on the kitchen counter and found a note written in my mom's handwriting saying, "You forgot this at our house, next to the box of half-eaten cake my parents didn't want." I didn't see my mom anywhere, so I assumed she must have gone upstairs to sleep in the guest bed until I got back, which is something she would commonly do as well.
Okay.
Then I heard footsteps upstairs, confirming it. And that's when I sighed once again. 27 years old, almost 3 in the morning, and she still has to wait up and treat me like a child. I ran upstairs to check the guest bed. Empty, along with all the bathrooms. I was afraid Mom was having one of her episodes due to her condition, so I ran to the phone to call my dad.
Oh no.
After 4 rings, my dad picked up in a groggy voice, asking what the hell is the matter. After I told him that I heard Mom wandering around upstairs in my house, there was a short pause, and then he said, "That's not possible, she's sleeping right next to me."
Jesus Christ!
My mouth...
No, I don't want to watch! I don't want to watch it! Ah! No, not anymore, not
fell
anymore.
open as I turned my head to face the dark upstairs. And just barely by the light provided by the kitchen, I could see a head peering around from the corner at the top of the stairs, looking down at me. I ran out the front door and down the street to my parents' house, explaining to my father on the way.
Oh shit!
About halfway there, my dad told me, "Alright, I'm gonna call the cops," and hung up. I made it to my parents' house, where my mom was already waiting at the door.
Oh no, no!
My mom explained that she did come over to clean my kitchen a little bit and to bring over the cake they didn't want. 2 police cars pulled up in front of my parents' house, where they escorted me and my dad down the street to my house. 1 officer stayed outside with us, while 2 others went inside to investigate.
Oh no.
It felt like 15 minutes before they came back outside and said it was clear.
Oh!
They checked the crawl space, the attic, everything. There was really nothing for me to report, other than the door was left unlocked and I saw the outline of a head upstairs before I ran for it. Still, I didn't feel safe sleeping in there that night, so I went back to my parents' house. Me and my dad are certain that my mom simply forgot to lock the door when she left, as her memory has been getting worse over the past few months. My dad has been stopping her from coming over alone from now on, which makes me both sad but also relieved. Some nights, I still get paranoid that whoever was in my house that night never left, and is still hiding in here somewhere.
No, just leave! No! Leave the house! It's so easy. Okay, this is the last video I'm going to watch because this thing is scaring the shit out of me, okay, so stop please.
Ever since I can remember, we've always had one of those old vintage Parker Brother Ouija boards sitting in our closet collecting dust.
Oh, sorry.
When I was a kid, I always wondered what it was. From the box, it seemed like a horrible board game, until one day I found out what a Ouija board really is, and immediately dug it out of the closet. I insisted on my brother trying it out with me, and eventually got him to play along. We put our hands on the planchette, and I began asking the typical cliché questions like, "Is there anybody there?" and "Can you answer me?" Other than my brother jokingly moving the planchette around to imitate an answer from some kind of entity, there was no real response.
Okay, yeah, obviously.
After getting bored, we put the game back in the box. I did a little research that night to find out how to make Ouija boards work. Many people said online that the most ideal environment when using a Ouija board is in a dark room only lit by candles.
Oh no.
So when my parents weren't home, I managed to gather like 6 or 7 candles and convinced my brother to try it one more time. I lit the candles and set them around the table in the dining room with all the lights out. We tried one more time. I asked again if there was anybody there. The planchette began to move.
Oh no!
I told my brother to stop moving it, but he swore he wasn't. I told him to move his hand away, and he did. It kept moving. My brother thought I was messing with him, but I didn't pay attention. The planchette landed on the word yes. I was only 9, so I was legitimately shitting myself. My older brother had to take over. He asked the question, "Are you a good spirit?" There was a 5-second pause before my brother's hand moved along with the planchette to the word
no. Oh!
We both looked at each other, and at this point I ran to my room and shut the door behind me, but he continued on with the so-called game. I heard his muffled voice come from down in the dining room, when all of a sudden I heard him screaming at the top of his lungs. I ran back downstairs to see what was wrong.
Why would you let your brother
He
alone?
was holding up his shirt, revealing a small open wound that almost looked like a claw mark.
Okay.
He told me to set the fireplace immediately, and I obeyed.
Okay,
He threw the thing in the fireplace
Obviously.
and told me to never speak of what happened to anybody.
No.
We have never used a Ouija board since.
Okay, so it was pretty scary, okay? Be sure to check out this channel in the description. They are pretty scary and pretty good, okay? So if you like scary stuff, then please don't forget to check him out. So yeah, I think really got nothing else to say. But yeah, if you enjoyed it, don't forget to drop a like on this video. Check out his channel, link will be in the description. And I'll see you guys there.